everybody, it's all Tokkuri Yashi. Today we're going to be having a look at the ceremonial Chika, at her skills and the role that she's going to be playing in the game. Well, first we're going to have a quick look at her banner here, and as we can see, it is here until the 31st of March. So, for the first time in a long time, we have got just 2 new characters this month, and she's also a permanent character as well. A lot of people see permanent think easy skip. Yes, she may appear randomly in summons in the future, but the odds are pretty low. So you can't count on it at all. If you really want Chika, you really do want to think about summoning for her on this banner. Well, I'm looking at it because I haven't done my summoning for her yet. Is because this banner is here for a long time, we can see till the 31st. We will be able to see clan battle teams. If you need Chika to run one of those clan battle teams and you can't borrow her and run the team, maybe then you might consider summoning for her. As well as that, we will also see the preview for next month's story event, so next month's characters, before her banner goes away. Again, that information will help you make up a decision whether you want to save your jewels for next month or whether you might want to skip next month, and then you might be a little bit more safe to summon for Chika. So there we go, that is her banner. Let's just have a quick look at her skills then. As you can see, she is in the rear guard. It's position 773. That's quite important. We'll have a look at position in more detail later. Magical character, a wind character, just like the ceremonial Ranfer. And she is a buffer. If you have a quick look at their loot pattern down here in the bottom left, we can see her skill 2 is her first action. And when she gets into her loot pattern, it is the skill 1 that is used more often. I think that is pretty good from having a look at what she does. I think it's the skill 1 that you will want to be using a lot more. So let's go over then and have a look at what those skills are, so we can understand a little bit more about this character. We can have a look at it here, but I think it looks a little bit better if we go down here and we have a look at Chika down here. So first off, we have got a Union Burst, and this Union Burst greatly increases the magical attack power of all allies, greatly increases the magical crit hit rate, and additionally greatly increases the magical attack power and magical crit hit rate of herself and the closest ally. So that's why her position is very important, because it's whoever is next to her, the closest ally to her, that is going to be getting the majority of these attack buffs here. So as we can see, she's a buffer, definitely a role in the game. So all allies will get a small magical attack buff of 6,760 at the current skill level. This scales on skill level. They'll also get a magical crit buff, and all allies will be healed 0.2 times a magical attack. On top of that, as we saw, herself and the closest ally will get an additional magical attack buff of 40 times the skill level, and that's currently 13,520. More magical crit buff, 160 magical crit damage of an extra 12%. And then she will deal large magical damage to all enemies, which is 3.2 times her magical attack. So she is AoE as well on this Union Burst. This is the only place she does have damage on her Union Burst. And she will also, recover hit points of all allies. As we saw there before, the hit points is 0.2 times magical attack there. So it's 10,262 at the moment for her heal for the allies. So in total, for her and the closest ally, it will be a total of 20,280 magical attack buff with this Union Burst. So let's move over then to her skill 1. As we can see here, this greatly increases the magical attack power of all allies. Again, they get the 6,760. Again, it scales by skill level. All allies will get a physical barrier, nullifying 10,816 of physical damage. Now this works with the ceremonial Ranfer, who has the magical barrier. And then you've got Theo on the team, which has got damage nullification barriers. These damage nullification barriers, it's nice to have, but there's a lot of it going on this team already. Maybe it would be nice if she had something different instead of that. Might make it a little bit more valuable on this team. And then additionally, for herself, and the closest ally, an additional magical attack buff again, 13,520, and she restores herself and the closest ally's TP by 120. So again, 20,280 magical attack buff for her and the closest ally just from her union based and this skill 1. Moving on then to her skill 2. This again greatly increases the physical defense of all allies. All allies will get that. The rest of this is for herself and the closest ally. A magical attack buff again, another 13,520. Magical crit buff of 160. Magical crit damage buff of 12%. And TP boost buff of 8. So again, we can see here, definitely a character that is a magical attack support, mostly for herself and her nearest allies. There is a lot of characters on the team, there are all the characters on the team that, this win team, that can buff magical attack. In New Year's Nenica, we will go and have a look at those comparisons in a minute. And also going to have a little look then at who are going to be her closest allies, because that is very important when it comes to seeing who is going to be getting this buff here from Chika. So first, let's have a look at this ceremonial Chika and her position, and which character is going to be her closest ally in terms of getting all of these magical attack buffs from her. First of all though, I will say, I think the magical attack buffs that Chika gives to herself are pretty negligible, really. It's not something that we really want to be considering too much. She's not a damage dealing character. She doesn't really need hero magical attack buffing. You're not going to get much damage out of her. The only other thing that magical attack for Chika will do is, again, increase the heal that she's got. All of the attack buffs to her team scale by skill level. The only other thing that scales by her magical attack is the hit point restoration that she gives. So she really does need to be next to one character that is a big DPS. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting much use out of these huge magical attack buffs. And as we can see here, on the wind magical team, her closest ally is the Ceremonial Ralph, which is no surprise, the character that is her twin in the story event. This character is definitely, the Chika has definitely been created to supercharge this ceremonial Ranfer, and they do work extremely well together. So that is something that you may want to consider when considering summoning for this Chika. If you don't have the Ranfer, then maybe she's not a very high priority to summon for at all, unless you was maybe planning on borrowing the Ranfer in clan battle, and then you have the Chika. But like I said, we can wait to see what the clan battle teams are before you do any summoning. Other than Ranfer, we've got Misora here, who is quite close to the Chika. She's more single target though, where Chika is multiple target, although I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem losing a bit of damage off of her, because she wasn't going to be doing a huge amount of damage in the first place. Other multiple target characters on the wind Magica team that could potentially be close to her there, this Explorer Maho looks like she could potentially benefit from Chika now and again if you don't have any of the characters in between there. But if you've got Theo on the team, and you're likely going to have Theo on the team, that is going to limit the range in which you can have a character there to be supported by Maho. And again, Theo getting magical attack doesn't help her much at all. It's only her heal that increases from her magical attack going up. So if we're going to use her off element, where is she? Who does she sits near her off of element? Well, where is she? All the way down here? There she is, right at the top. Right. Right next to Echidna, who's single target as well. Astral Yui potentially. Again, these are all single targets characters. She may have a little bit of use off element. I'll say that may, because she's compared to the New Year's Nenica on the win team, which we're going to have a little look at in a minute. New Year's Nenica has been used off of element. So if there is a character close to the Chika, then it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But as you can see here, there are not many multiple target characters near here in terms of DPS. So it's maybe unlikely that she's going to be used off of elements. Potentially, we thought perhaps the Homares, but the Homares are all the way down here. It's just around about number 700. Misora too, potentially on the Dark Wind team perhaps. But you can see the Homares and the Misoras all down here, around about 700-ish. New Year's Homare as well. So it doesn't look too promising using her off of element. There really isn't that many characters that are too close to her other than the Chika and potentially this Summer Misora that could really take advantage of being close to her and getting her buffs. So when it comes to comparing this ceremonial Chika with New Year's Nenika, both of them wind magical characters. In the past, this Nenika was used as the buffer for one, because she does target one character with all of her buffs, which is very similar to what this Chika is doing. Will this Chika replace this Nenika on the team? Well, I think the Chika is definitely better. If you add up Chika's total buffs, it's 54,000 just from the Union based Skill 1 and Skill 2. With New Year's Nenika, if you say her magical attack is 100,000, she's had a few buffs, her magical attack's gone up from that 62 to 100,000, she's going to get about 44,000 to one target, and her targets also move around. They can be the highest magical attack or the lowest hit point percentage, so it's not necessarily going to be hitting the same character each time with the buffs. And then we can see there her loop pattern, this Nenika's loop pattern is also old. These skills aren't going to be firing off as frequently as the Chika. His Chika's loop pattern is a hell of a lot better. So position wise, if the position suits the Chika I think is going to be a much better option than Nenika. Nenika's still going to have a bit of use, I'm pretty sure, if the character that you want to buff doesn't stand that close to the Chika. So on top of that, this Chika here is providing even more options for 710 Wind Deep Quest. Another team here with Chika in it, which should make it a little bit easier for you to complete this mode. Although it does look like there's quite high requirements here for your Princess Knight for this team to work. So as well as the Deep Quest, I think this Chika will work pretty well in Clan Battle as well. I'm pretty sure she'll be run with this Ranfer, next to this Ranfer, as a cure of the Wind multiple targets magical team. Probably also on single target too, although our damage will go down a little bit. I think this will be the core of the Wind magical team for this foreseeable future. So you're going to bear that in mind when you think about summoning for this Chika. Do you have the Ranfer as well, or can you borrow her? So there we go, that is the ceremonial Chika. Let me know what you think of her. I'm Tokkuri Yashi, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again for another video. Bye 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 bye.